2 years ago, the world watched as a rapidly spreading virus, now known as COVID-19, was identified in Wuhan, China. Within a matter of days, everything would change in the United States. On March 19, 2020, Cameron County would receive notice of its first case, causing local leaders to find ways to navigate the effects of this new disease. On this segment of A Look Back, Cameron County Public Health is joined by Judge Eddie Trevino Jr. as he examines how the past 2 years have reshaped our lives.
I remember I guess it was like March the 16th, whatever that Friday was. Anyway, I was in San Antonio on a Wednesday night. I'd gone to see a small concert, and that was the night that the NBA announced that one of their players had tested positive and they were suspending the NBA season. And between that and then obviously the growing news and cases nationally and obviously globally, that's when I realized we're not going to be spared. We're gonna have to face this. So I immediately canceled my trip, got back, and I told all of my staff at the time, we'll have a meeting, first thing, and start planning what we need to do. We were trying to figure out what we could do, what was within our scope of authority as elected officials to address a public health emergency. Obviously, if this was a hurricane or flooding and things of that nature, we had some experience dealing with that, but this was kind of a new area. And so we were all researching, reviewing, preparing, looking at possibilities, talking with other jurisdictions, talking with the state. And I usually make a joke. Sometimes maybe I shouldn't, but I told people that I was looking in my desk here at the office of Dancy, of the county judge, seeing if there was a book on how to deal with pandemic for dummies. And I could not find anything because, of course, we had never had to deal with it. But clearly, it was a new reality that we were going to be dealing with. And at that point, as we started hearing about what was going on elsewhere, people actually dying, people getting seriously sick, and I realized that while our decisions as elected officials always had the impact, always had the ability to impact the lives of the people that live here in our cities, in our county, these decisions were going to have a much larger reality because we realized that they were going to have potentially a life and death consequence. And having that first meeting at the public health department with all the superintendents, it was clearly a life-altering moment for all of us. All of these things were new realities that we were doing in order to try to deal with the pandemic as best we could. I know that I upset a lot of people with some of the decisions that I made early on. And I can certainly understand that. In everything that we do, we usually upset somebody. But in this instance, I had to look at myself in the mirror every day, like I've always done as an elected and public official, and say that I do the best I possibly could for the people that I was tasked to represent. It was my responsibility as county judge, first of all, to make the best decision, the best informed decision I could possibly make, and two, keep in mind that I needed to do everything I possibly could to help protect and save the lives of the residents and visitors, in my mind, of Cameron County. I remember, and I mentioned this the other day, one weekend we started developing these mass vaccination clinics, doing it at Los Fresnos. They were unbelievable in helping us. And we were working our way up, 500 to 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000. And one day in the second month, I want to say, or maybe third month, we did 6,000. And I remember hearing the news that weekend that in LA at Dodger Stadium, they did 10,000. And they were making all this great big deal about it. I'm like, hey, here in Cameron County, we just did 6. And not that we were looking for attention, but it just showed me the quality of the individuals that we had committing themselves to help. Our new normal, I think, is very different, and it's going to be different than our old normal. But we have to have that sense of hope and expectation that things can get back to normal. But hopefully, God willing, now that we've dealt with these variants and we're seeing, again, the cases have dramatically dropped, Hospitals are in much better shape. Here we are in March 2022, 2 years after the beginning of COVID-19 in our country and in our county. And God willing, our new normal includes living with COVID-19, but not living afraid with COVID-19. So I know that when we work together, anything is possible. And I hope that even though I think people should still be mindful, probably still be wearing their mask when they can, when they feel comfortable or uncomfortable, around people or individuals that they're not sure about. But I think we're definitely in a better shape. We're definitely in a better place. And I hope that going forward, our new sense of normalcy gives us a little bit more peace and calm and optimism for the future, because I'm very, very proud of everybody that's worked with us and had a hand in dealing with COVID here in our county. There are too many names to mention, but from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of them, all of the healthcare professionals, all the public health workers, all of my emergency management staff, the first responders, the elected officials, the administrative staffs for all the elected officials, the community members, the essential workers, are everybody, law enforcement, everybody that had a hand to get us to this point. The people that we took for granted, like I said, the people who wait on us at the restaurants and put the food and products on the shelving, we took for granted, and they were at risk, those first months and that first year, but they had to be there. And the truckers, getting produce and products all over the country. It's too numerous to mention, and if I have failed to mention, please forgive me. But I'm thankful to everyone that had a hand in getting us to this point, and is going to help get us past the finish line as we create a new sense of normalcy for all of us here in Cameron County.